everybody. We are super late today, but that's cool.
I was being prolific.
Yeah.
And hold on.
Where are you going? Just like disappearing.
I was making sure
Disappearing
interrupted.
Okay. On me.
We're in my backyard, and I thought that I heard a car. I did. It's my neighbors. They didn't gain permission from me to leave.
Oh, okay. I'm going to share our free spirit talks while you...
Well, I know.
Started.
I've been holding the whole thing up today. I have.
It's okay. It happens when it needs to happen.
See, when Addison got here, I was about 3/4 of the way done with my musing of the day. And then my son walked in the door. This is kind of like if you give a mouse a cookie. Then my son walked in the door, and he wanted to describe to me everything that he's been doing in this game that he's building, because he got into the whatever the hell it's called of dreams or whatever, where you get to create inside the gaming system games. Sounds really, really cool. So he tries to explain to Mom, who's not a gamer, all this different stuff, and he does what he's talking about. So yeah, so then that happens. So then I was like trying to get all that done.
And we started chatting.
Then we started talking. And then we were talking about actually what we're going to be talking about right now. And
it got heated.
And then it got heated, and it just,
Not a bad way.
So it only took me like an hour to write 2 small paragraphs. But it's a really good article.
So go read it.
Yeah, I haven't read it, but it's good. I'll read it after this. I just post that and then go read it later. So yeah. So,
what are we talking about today?
Being a 2-pump chump. Don't we love being a 2-pump chump?
No, we don't. We don't.
Well, I love 2-pump chump.
This one actually, I brought it up, and you were like, yeah, I'm so in alignment with that topic, because
we're not the only ones in alignment to it, because in the process of us discussing this, I posted my musing, and Facebook popped up, of course, on the wall, and a fellow coach that I follow had posted this great big statement on exactly this right here. She did not use 2-pump chump as her statement, but it was still the same thing.
Yeah, it was that. And this kind of came in, I was actually reading underneath your article that you wrote a couple days ago now.
I want the girlfriend experience.
I want the girlfriend experience. I was reading underneath that, and I saw all these comments of like, but I've done my healing. Almost like this superiority of like, I've done my healing, so I'm thus done. I'm this done. And that, not only that, under that article, but I'm seeing a lot of this like I've done my work. So I'm good. So I'm good. I'm done. I've done my work. So nothing should bother me anymore because I've done my work.
Well, that's kind of like saying, well, I went to the gym. I got the body that I want, so now I don't have to go to the gym anymore. And my body's just going to stay toned, and I'm going to have these great abs and this great butt and all this different stuff, and I never have to work out again another day in my life. Or I went on this diet and I lost all this weight to have this weight level, this body, this health, this nutrition, and now that I have it, I don't have to. I can go back to my regular whatever, because I never have to do that again. Like, it's done. One done. Boom, boom.
And it doesn't work like that.
That's just stupid. It's stupid. We don't do that. We understand that in eating, in exercising, that it is a consistency. It's a process. It's about creating a habit and consistently going and doing the work, whether that is eating good food, whether it is exercising, or it is what we're talking about here, the 2-pump chump of the healing, which is that it is that internal, that mindset work, that healing of trauma, that healing of, different, maybe a lot of people have anger issues. A lot of people have, blockages around money, around intimacy, vulnerability, all these different things. We all carry shame and guilt. And but I know both of us have so much. My puppy is going to probably knock everything over here. That we've both been through our own share of trauma and different stuff. And we've had our own processing and done a lot of work.
Yes.
But coming from it from that perspective as a coach, practitioner, educator, I'm consistently, like, every single day doing my work. Yes. There's not a day that I don't do the internal work and the external work and that external work is take the action. Take the action. It's all about, like, and my article goes right along with this topic today because it's really, this is like, it's right there, that energy of, like, there's so many, what I'm seeing is, well, if I just write it down, if I just keep writing these affirmations, then I'm good. Like, it's just going to manifest. It's just going to happen. I'm just going to be magically healed if I write enough times. I don't know, but it just is that I'm healed. And I'm going to be healed. I never have to actually do the processing. I never actually have to go and take any action to speak it, to process it. Like, I have one of my clients right now is working on a bunch of release work from trauma, from different experiences. And that particular client is, like, going in there and really doing this massive amount of work to clear that out. But it is the
days ago now that goes along with this, in that I had several people coming to me going, oh, I want internet. Okay, internet's back. Okay. But I had lots of people telling me, oh, I want to learn this. I want to learn this. Like, I want to be a tantric practitioner. I want to I want to heal my sexual energy. I want to heal my relationship. But I don't want to communicate. We can't do that. We can't communicate. I want to heal my relationship, but there's no communication can happen.
Okay, I'm not going to talk.
And, like, I want to learn Tantra, but, like, I don't want to learn about this energy stuff. And I want to get fit, but I never want to, like...
I don't want to exercise. Like,
I just want you to teach me how to be a yoga instructor without ever taking a yoga class. Yep. And I'm seeing that healing element. And then also, I do think that we have the same kind of feel, just like you were saying, when it comes to trauma and, any growth work, really. But I think it's been in our face I think for both of us, and I know lots of other people over the last, we'll say week, it's been really in our face because of some of the conversations we've been having and some of the articles that we've been writing, and then the comments we're getting. I'm actually a little, like, I'll be, like, totally honest, I'm kind of sick and tired of, like, some of the comments I'm getting recently. It's actually offensive and actually re-traumatizing at times, some of the things that I've gotten. And I think that I've seen lots of people going, like, oh, well, if it's re-traumatizing, then you never did your healing. That's bullshit. And yes, this is Free Spirit Talks, but it like, and so I'm going to try not to cuss. But the fact is, like, that's bull. What really your healing is about is healing at a new level each time, because the truth is, no matter what kind of trauma, which we all have trauma, let's just be blunt and honest about that. I don't care what kind of trauma that is. We all hold trauma, whether big T, little t, we can go into all that. That's very psychological right there, but we all hold trauma in our bodies. And so it is healing at a different level each time that we kind of come around. I like to think about it, and I tell my clients all the time, to picture almost like you're in a room, a circular room, and there is a pile of poop. We'll call it poop. A humongous pile of poop in the center of this room. And there's a spiral staircase that goes around this pile of poop. Mm-hmm. And at the very bottom, you're like, okay, I'm like in it. I'm like right next to it. Like, I smell it. It stinks. It's gross. It's overwhelming.
There's too much to deal with.
Yeah. And then you start walking up that staircase and you do some work. Mm-hmm. And so you're like up a little bit. And you're like, okay, like it still stinks. It's still like, it's really still impacting me. And then you come back around and you heal. And then later you heal at a different level. And then you get to a point where it doesn't impact in the same way. However, to say like, well, if you've done your healing work on something, it should never impact you. It should, like, you should be good, that is setting ourselves up for failure, shaming, blaming, mm-hmm. and also not truly digging into our depth.
And
seeing things at a different level. I shared something I got an email about 2 months ago from somebody who I would say was, I'm trying to phrase this correctly. Yes, I'm tiptoeing right here, owning this. I received an email, and the email was actually very triggering because this particular person I had some interactions with years ago, and so
now I know what you're talking
that
about. I was
one.
like, what email are you going for?
Well, I got this email, and at the time, if I had gotten the same email 8 years ago, I would have been a complete mess. Instead, I have done such healing work that I received this email, and I went, still messed up. I used different verbiage, but still messed up. But I see my growth. I see my healing. I see how I actually could look at this in a different perspective. And
right.
So I think it
that's
is.
what healing is.
Yeah, it's looking at things in a different perspective.
Mm-hmm. You move away from it far enough that you can see it in different ways. You can get your attachment level you're not as emotionally attached anymore, but the emotion is still there, because no matter what, when you've experienced something, that's why it's called triggers, right? I mean, triggers are kind of like fish hooks that are attached to different scents, different visions, different statements, different touches that you really have no control over. I mean, you can be walking down, and I'm pretty open these days about the fact that years ago I experienced a rape from a client, and it was at a point in my life that I was very, I would say, like a baby in my practice and working through boundaries and working through all this different stuff. Now I look at this particular situation in gratitude, almost not for the physical, not for all the trauma of it, but for the insight that I chose to take on from that. Because initially I was completely messed up from it. I spent a good year and a half just messed up. I sacrificed relationships. I stepped away from my sex. I didn't want to do the work. I couldn't go into my office for a time frame. I tried on the front side to go into my office. I was like, I'm never working with men again. I'm never doing this. Like nothing.
It's funny now.
I was like, I'm never doing this. I'm not going out on any dates. I'm not doing. I was just like, because I was just in shock. It was that tough of a situation. But from that, what birthed from that, as I went in, I went, no, you know what? I'm going to do my work. Obviously, I need to set some boundaries here. I need to use my voice more, because I reacted in that situation completely opposite of what I had always proclaimed I would act. In my perfect world, I thought if somebody ever comes at me like this or this, I'm going to go for the eyeballs. I'm going to go down here and go, I'm going to knee them. I'm going to scream. I'll fight. It's not going to happen without a good hearty fight. And what happened was my body went into freeze mode, and I became this limp noodle with no voice. And I can tell you what, it is absolutely terrifying in that moment to be a prisoner in your own head in that moment and be able to experience all this stuff going on with your body. But I was almost like I was very numb to it. And it was like I was kind of cast out of my being and up in a corner in the room.
Yeah.
I was up in the corner of this room, and it was like I was getting a third person view of what was going on, but at the same time I was a prisoner in my own head, and I felt like I was in one of those dreams where I couldn't vocalize, and it was that feeling that I had, and then it was over. So I didn't have any physical repercussions from it, but the emotional hold on, all of this stuff, all right, but the emotional repercussions completely different. And what birthed from that, though, was that I decided to get in there, and I decided to do the work, and I decided to do all this different stuff, and it wasn't just journaling work. I don't know what is going on with my phone.
I'm going to make sure that we're still live.
Yeah, thank you.
As you keep going.
Because my phone is acting up, and it's not wanting to... I don't even know what this message means. Need to. You know what it is? Because I didn't want to update my phone because it totally messes up everything. Because you and I have the same phone, right?
Yes.
And you did the update, and it messed up all of the server stuff.
We're still live.
So I have not done the update on my phone yet.
Still live.
And now I'm getting this message.
Okay.
So
Well,
I think I have to do the update. So I'm just going to talk through the message. Let's talk through the message. So yeah, so back to the whole trauma. So I decided to get in there, and I did all this healing work. And that led me to being able to work with men again, being able to not sacrifice my practice, being able to go out on dates and have relationships and all that good stuff. But what I gained from it was I gained insight into, number one, never judge what you think somebody else should do. There was a lot of judgment stuff going on there, that because I thought that I would be one way and I turned out to be another way. So you can never ever judge how you would react in a situation. And then there is the whole, like back then I had a lot of male clients, and I didn't have a lot of understanding for female trauma in that situation. Where from this situation, I got to gain great insight into female trauma because I now had it in that aspect, that sexual trauma. So I started to be able to reach out and help other women move through it because I went in and I did the work, so I had the steps to provide. But here's the thing. No matter how much, and I did a massive amount of work, I got really good boundaries on things. I started setting the tone of different things. I had more caution. I went through a shutdown phase, and then I went back into the opening up. And every now and then I get triggered, and it causes me to contract a little bit. Nowhere near what I did back then, of course, but I do get these triggers, and it causes contraction in my system. Now I recognize, oh, you're contracting. That's not good. Don't do that. Go in, do some work right here, and open back up. Breathe into it like you're not experiencing this right now. The majority of people, though, don't do that work.
And that's where the work is.
Or they do the initial work, and then they just think that I should just be like this, and I should never have to do it anymore. I should never have to read another book after high school. That kind of mentality. Like, I should never have to read another book. I should never have to actually use cursive writing after high school. Not that people are using cursive writing in high school these days, but they're not, which is another topic. But
I think the work is realizing that you have to do the work. You have to continue to do the work consistently, because I'm pretty open and vocal, and I've written articles about. I actually wrote an article saying like I think it was I asked for my sexual trauma.
Yeah, you did.
I did.
That was a pushy.
Yeah,
article.
because that was my healing work and going, okay, like I needed these lessons. And so I have my fair share of rape and trauma and all of that as well. And so I could say the similar thing of like that shutdown. I think really it is. Whether we're talking about trauma, whether we're talking about, going to the freaking gym, the fact is realizing when you need to do the work, that is the work. The growth is going, okay, I'm seeing all of this stuff happen, and that triggers me in a good way, in a positive way, to go, okay, now I need to go in and look at this some more. That is true growth. That is true healing. If you go, I'm going to do this and then I'm going to be done with it, that is actually cutting off your depth, because there really is so much. And I'm going to say the word beauty. There's beauty in the learning and the processing through it, and the kind of really getting down in there in the depth. And like, because true, like healing, forgiveness, shame work, vulnerability work doesn't happen up here at that initial healing or work. It happens when you're like down in like the grind of things. And I don't mean the grind as in like working hard, but I mean like I'm gonna dive into this, I'm gonna have compassion for self, but I am gonna do the work, physical, mental, emotional, all of it. And I'm recognizing where I need to do my healing work. I think we run into this situation of like, I've done my healing work though, so I'm done. And I think we actually shortchange ourselves, and we actually shortchange the people around us from watching us do that work. Like last night, some of the sisters, and you talked this morning on your conscious coffee about, we had this beautiful debate kind of going on last night, and that is healing in and of itself, being able to step out and share your healing work and go like, yeah, this is my experience, this is what's happened with me, this is what's happened with you, this, and like having that discussion really, I think, that's a sharing of your healing work. But instead of just going like, I've done my healing work, I'm done, and that no longer bothers me, or I don't have to do it anymore. I think it's much easier to look at it when it's like in the physical of like, most people would say like, yes, I realize like when I'm exercising that I have to keep exercising. Like most people know that, like, and it's not like, well, I showered yesterday, like I don't ever have to shower again. Even though 13-year-old boys might use that, like it's not really like we know that's crazy. That's craziness. But I think when we get into our emotional world, when we get into even our world as far as like entrepreneur stuff and all of that, it's
I see this a whole bunch because a lot of my coaching these days has really moved into like mompreneurs and entrepreneurship and small business owners, and just that, you know, it's the abundance mindset is what I've really been dealing in more over the last year and a half. And what I see there's not the trauma in the aspect of like what we think of trauma, but we actually have trauma around money consciousness. We have, you know, like we have these holdbacks. We've had, you know, I suffered a bankruptcy. I got fired. My job let me go. My wife, you know, divorced me and took the house and took this. And now all my money goes towards this, and I'm living on hardly anything. I built this business, and then something happened, and my legs were cut out from underneath me.
I was shamed as a child. I was shamed for wanting,
you know, things. Money doesn't grow on trees. You've got to work hard for your money. No pain, no gain. All of this. So there's just, you know, like the more suffering you have, the better story you're gonna have when you actually have success.
Which is bull.
All this kind of stuff. And those are traumatic programs going on in the head around money, around success, which is just mindset training. And just this morning I was asked, well, what kind of mindset training do you do? Because I was talking about what I did this morning, you know. And yeah, I do journaling. Yeah, I do. I listen to different talks, I'll listen to my mentor's stuff. I'll listen to, you know, Tony Robbins. I'll listen to Abraham Hicks. I'll listen to whomever I'm being called to. I do a 15-minute meditation typically every single morning or sometime throughout the day to kind of bring myself into a point to be able to do my conscious coffee, to be able to do my articles, to connect with my clients and everything, and be able to have a better mindset consciousness around that. But that is a consistent practice. It's not just sitting there going, all right, I'm going to take 5 minutes to journal out these things, have no emotional connection to them, and then sit there and go, okay, so where is it? And I just did it once this week, so I should be good for like the next year, right? Because I just journaled once, so that's it. I did it, or I did that program 2 years ago, and I should be good. I should never have to expand myself anymore. I should never have to really get in there. And what I see more and more as I see people in that consciousnness, it's very similar to sexual stuff, is that, you know, well, I'm having financial struggle, but so I can't really afford to do that. I don't have the time to do that. I don't have this. I don't have that. There's lots of excuses as to why to not do the work, the healing, the, you know, the attunement to
it all is healing, and it's all
healing. It's all a mindset process, and to kind of walk up that, like what you were talking about, that staircase, no matter what that pile of crap is in the middle of that circular staircase, it's still sitting there. It might be multiple things, and as you're viewing it, you've got to get into this detachment of the energy of that stuff, so it's not just wafting all over you. It's like your stench is so strong, no wonder nothing's coming to you, no wonder you're not really having those breakthroughs, because it's all over you still. And it might be you. I mean, we all go through these phases where we have this stuff like come in, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm not, well, that was just a breeze, you know, and a breeze carrying the stench off. So you might be feeling like, oh, I'm really groovy right now, I don't really have to do anything. No, you still need to do that, no matter what is going on in your world. It's not just when you're really struggling. It's not just when you can really do it. I mean, I think we have a lot of thinking that, oh, I'll do that when I can. You're never going to be able to.
The time's never going to come. The time's never going to come.
It's never going to be the perfect time. You're never going to be ready to do it. You're never going to have the motivation to do it. I mean, I do not wake up going, man, you know, I just feel all this motivation. Now, I really
sometimes you do.
Sometimes. It's rare, though. But it's really not that whole... It's not that I dread doing any of it, because I don't dread doing anything. But what I do have is... I do have this... what's the name of the book? The 5-second rule. I don't remember what her name is.
Mel
Robinson. Mel Robinson. Something like that. She wrote a book called The 5-Second Rule, and she talks about how motivation is just, it's bogus.
Crazy.
It's not a thing. True. And it's very, I completely prescribe to what she's saying there, because I know it for myself. It's just like, do I really want to go work out? I want the result.
And you know you're going to feel better.
I know I'm going to feel better, but I don't really want to like go, I mean, if that was my passion, it would be different. I love to sit down and write. I love to do my conscious coffee. So that's not a push most days. Most days. There are days, though, that I was like, ugh. And I got to dig down. I got to go, you know what? I'm going to make it happen. And then there are those days where I'm like, I am so out of alignment with this. I don't want to bring that energy forward.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do that. But every single time I make that choice to do a conscious coffee, to write an article, to, you know, to share something, to do my journaling, my meditation, my exercise, my whatever I'm doing, all of that is part of different aspects of healing work for the inside, the core person, that cold sore.
Yeah. And I think the key is that, like, when you have those moments, it's not like you're because I have this, I can totally relate to everything you just said on that. In that, yeah, there are times I'm like, you know, I'm not feeling anything come through with you know, a video or an article. Most of the time, because I have similar passions. Like, I love writing my articles. I love doing my videos where I get to connect with people. But yeah, like exercise, or even like there are times, like, sorry clients, there are times I'm like, you know, I would just feel better to just stay at home today and like sunbathe. But it's like, okay, like, that's where you dig down deep. That is the healing work. That is when you go like, okay, why am I doing this? Like, what is going on right now that is pulling this up? What is that trigger? Where do I need to go and do some work? And I don't mean like work, but like some healing, or where do I need to kind of lean in or not lean in, or you know, breathe in to different things. Because I think I do think it all comes back to that mental work. No matter what you're doing, it always is the mental work. I'm like looking at, sorry, I'm like distracted by her phone because it's like popping up a bunch of stuff.
I'm gonna do my updates.
But I think there is this, it's not necessarily work, and I think that's the best word we have to express it today, but I don't think it's like work. It really is that, you know, that stepping in and doing the mindset, because no matter what you're working on, it always does come back to that mindset, and it comes back to knowing that at the end of the day, like, it is what is for your highest good. I think there's a difference between pushing through and doing stuff that isn't aligned with you. That's not what we're talking about. If you know, though, if you think and go, okay, so exercise, like, I don't always love to go run or whatever I'm doing. Actually, I don't run. I don't run. But exercise, I go take a yoga class. Huh?
No, I certainly don't run with my knee.
I don't run. Dance, I don't run. But, I think there is this, like, okay, I know at the end of the day, that is the result I want. That is where I want to get to. I know the me of next week, next month, next year, 5 years is going to thank me for this work, this moment. And then even at the end of the exercise, I'm going to go like, you know, I feel better. Yeah. I feel better. I feel good. And I think it is looking at your mindset in that way to do the healing. And the same thing, if we want to bring it back to like the trauma work or the money work, or it's like, okay, like, no, is it, do I want to sit here and, you know, take this whole like intensive course? Like, yes, there might be some things that in this moment feel better to go do, like play Candy Crush. But I know I'm going to... Candy Crush? Every once in a while. It's rare, but every once in a while.
I have tried. It just bores the
It's really not my
crap out of me. I just go, why? Why am I doing this? There's so many other cool things to be doing. Why am I doing it? I just was wondering. I didn't mean to put you on the spot or cut you off. Sorry.
It's rare, but I have I mean, I haven't been known to
I know that you're not like
play the
you're
candy.
not going. Yeah, no, Addison. She just walks around playing Candy Crush.
No, I don't even watch
all
TV.
the time.
I don't even watch TV. I think it's such a waste of time. But I totally lost my point. I hate you. No,
Sorry.
don't. No, but I think it is like, yes, there are things that would feel better, but if you want that healing, you want that expansion, like, yes, going and looking at your trauma and all the stuff coming up, it would feel better in that moment to go like, oh, let me just focus over here and just forget that. No, but you're not going to grow. You're not going to expand. That's not saying we need to get all like, oh, we're going to get really serious, but it, like, because I don't think that helps either.
A lot of the work is to learn how to loosen up, to soften, to be more vulnerable, to be more authentic, to learn how to play, to learn how to laugh at yourself, to, I there's a lot of talk around, like, at least I'm hearing from a lot of different people about, doing inner child work, and I'm not a big, here I am. I'm not a big inner child work person because a lot of that stuff to me is about going back into inner child work. To me is like, let's go reconnect with that inner child and pull up this and tell that child, it's going to be okay and blah, 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 and do that. And that's underneath my frame of coaching and training is all re-anchoring that old stuff back in. So pulling that energy of the 4-year-old up into the 40-year-old. And now I've got this energy from there here. And you can disagree, and plenty of people will, but I'm just like, that's just not what I prescribe to. I'm about, here's where you're at. That's in your past. Your past does not have to dictate to you your today, your tomorrow. Let's deal with who you are right now. You can give me like a little bit of like, hey, this stuff happened back here. I'm like, okay. So that kind of gives it like a little picture. But what do you want? What do you want? Where are you at? What are you willing? Are you willing to get in there and do this right now? Because, if the 4-year-old comes up screaming and says, "Hey, pay attention to me," then we might have to deal with a little bit. Like, why are we focusing back in on the 4-year-old? Let's just like get real. Let me get you a mirror here. You're not 4. Okay, so I know I am a really loving coach, right? Like, my personality is kind of bam. And I have put a mirror in front of somebody's face and gone, see the beautiful person that you are, or hey, FYI, this is not you anymore.
Yeah.
Like, why are you getting caught on that? Because you're not 4, you're not 16, you're not 20, you're not whatever age that was. You're right here. And it is about the right here. And a lot of the times in our trauma, in our work. Hold on.
So, while she's having a moment in there, I will say that, I subscribe to, I will do like a little bit of like the inner child work with clients occasionally, but it is so incredibly rare. I think it is going kind of back and sometimes like cutting off different.
It was a grandbaby drop off for
Oh. I think there are different times when it's like, okay, like, yes, you need to look at this and then like cut some cords and do like some momentary healing on that. But to stay there, no, you're not. You're not 4, you're not 16, you're not 30, you're
and what we do when we do
now.
that kind of stuff right there is that we're not moving forward. We're just not moving forward. And a lot of the times we want our goals, we want our dreams to happen, we want things to manifest for us, and we wonder why they're not happening, and it's because we're living back there instead of right here. And a lot of the stuff, I know both of us teach on presence, because it's like, you've got to get right here in the now. And yeah, yesterday's thoughts got you to today, but what do you want for the rest of today and for tomorrow going forward?
And so the healing work is to look at all that, to release some of the crap that you've picked. I think, like, when I look at, like...
Set that stuff on fire.
Yeah,
go.
like, you're like, leave it. Let it go. Let me
go.
re-anchor new thoughts right now. Let me re-anchor the positives now.
And take the action right now. As to why, one of the pieces of work that I give frequently to people is I'll ask them to go, a year, 2 years out, and to look at that picture that they want and feel the person that is living that picture themselves in that future picture. How does that feel? How does that really feel? Really internalize what that feels like, and then come back to, okay, so what does that person, what is the me of 2 years from now doing, speaking like, acting like, living like, thinking? How do they feel about things? All that kind of stuff. Now, what can I implement right now into my here and now from that perspective?
Yeah.
And if I look at that, there's things, you're not going to be able to fully understand that, but there's going to be a good little handful of things that you can implement into your right now, which is going to increase your vibration and pull you closer to that scenario instead of decreasing your vibration to what happened yesterday.
Yeah. I think and I want to make sure that, like, and I don't think this is what you're saying, like, it's not about ignoring your past.
No.
It's about, like, going, like, I honor that this is the stuff that has happened in my past, and I can love myself just as I am because this is what made me who I am. And I can also choose, let me say that again, choose to make a different choice and move forward and heal and expand. So,
yeah. And, back to the topic of, like, you're always healing, you're always moving forward, because there is we kind of went from here to here, right? So in one aspect, it's like, well, there are these triggers that pop up. Well, that's outside stuff. That's things that, a thought can happen. If you're not doing the internal work of today, then you're a lot more likely to have a thought trigger happen about something that's going to hold you back than if you're actually doing the work day by day, versus, somebody who's just like, nope, I just did that and now I don't have to worry about moving forward on that. I can just do this.
Yeah.
You have to consistently do that work, because thoughts create emotions lead you to action. And if you're not getting in tune with yourself and in alignment, then all of a sudden you're more likely to repeat different things.
Yep.
So you're going to draw in outside influences that are going to help trigger those things back to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So. And I think it is also knowing. I think if you're not constantly healing, too, like, doing your work, like, you don't even recognize when something is triggered. Like, and I think I said this at the beginning of the video, of, like, I have received a massive amount of, like, messages over the last, like, actually since I changed my profile picture, I got, like, sassier, like, photo shoot, and all of a sudden I have all these men thinking it's okay to basically send me rape scenes in my messenger. Love you guys. And, like, unsolicited pictures and all of this, and there's been a couple times I've gone that, oh wow, that message just totally triggered. Like I feel that. Like, but the difference is some other person could read that and go like, and they don't recognize the trigger. Instead, I go, I see that. I see what that's pulling up. I look at this differently, heal this differently, all of that. So,
yeah,
I think yes, your past will get pulled up occasionally. I think it is knowing that and not judging yourself for those times when something triggers, whether that's in money. Like I brought up, like, trauma right there, but I think the same thing happens with our money too, and in our relationships and in our life. Hence why we are. Oh, we're back.
There we go. Okay.
Because we call ourselves Tantric Practitioners, because we do weave. Because that's what Tantra is, weaving everything together. Because we do the same thing in no matter what area of our life we're talking about. Mm-hmm. And so it is recognizing your healing, doing your healing, and not just being like a chump and going like, I've done it, I don't need to do it again, I don't need to work on myself anymore, I'm done.
And
for the rest of my life.
I think the important thing there around healing, because, I know that you've gotten an influx of different things lately. I've had a few. I mean, I have not had nearly what what you have had. I have clients that are getting an influx of things. But I always look at like what's coming at me, what's the message for that, because it may not be the same energy of the past, but it might be something that I am accessing, opening up, shutting down to from my past issues, challenges, and it's kind of the outside world going, hey, here's some of your crap that you need to still deal with in this way, and it has absolutely nothing to do with what I'm receiving in that. It's just kind of like a street sign.
Lesson.
It's just a street sign that's coming through that's saying you need to be aware of this right here, right now. Like you're really shutting yourself down. You're shutting your heart down a lot right now. So people are really feeling more like you're getting attacked more right now because your heart is shut down. So what happens when we shut our heart down? All of a sudden we feel a lot more attacks coming at us. You know, we shut our worthiness down, our ability to receive, and then all of a sudden we lose our job, or you know, we get hit with something, some bill or something like that, our car,
our partner
whatever.
cheats on us, or
right, we should, whatever it is. It typically, it's not really what is coming at us that the lesson is. It's something else that lesson is trying to make us aware of, an energy, a thought, an emotion that we are buying into of our old version, not of our new version. So to bring ourselves up into full alignment means to go, oh wow, what am I supposed to get out of this right here? That actually has nothing to do with the unsolicited pictures. It has something to do with whatever that could be, because it could be numerous different things. So there is, and that's the importance. I think that's the power of coaching too, because you work with a coach, because we don't know our own crap.
No, because you can go, I see that, you don't see that.
Well, what do I do with it? What does that mean? And then when you're working with somebody, what happens is that you actually get the opportunity to vocalize it, share it, and then they can, from an outside perspective, go, hey, try this, do this, boom, you're going to be through that by Monday. Don't worry about it. You got this, you know? And I love that when I get that advice of like, no, I want you to go journal on this. No, I want you to go write that stuff down and burn it. I'm like, is that really going to work?
And
but it does. It does. And but when it's just you trying to figure it out, sometimes
we're blind to our own
spaghetti
stuff
on the wall, and
we're blind to our own stuff so often. And that's why, I mean, coaches have like I have coaches, you have coaches. I mean, that's why it is important to have that.
Always do your inner work. Never ever let a day go by that you're not doing something for yourself. Ultimately. So.
Well, good talk.
What do you have to say as far as for yourself? What do you got going on? What do you have to say for yourself?
So I have my Only Sexy Men Need Apply. That starts Wednesday. Pre-work dropped yesterday. Preliminary work. It is a 4-week mastermind. Get your butts in there. If you're not in there, then you should be. If you're a man, you should be. Like, don't complain to me about how you can't find a date. I'm offering like such great values here. So it's an amazing program. One of my best that I've put together. So I'm very excited to work with all the yummy men that are already in there. And then, what else we have? Tantric 201 coming up on Saturday, so get your butts in there. Otherwise, we're closing the doors probably Wednesday.
Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, Wednesday or Thursday. That will be closed for registration, so get your butts in there. Other than lots of stuff on the events page. We're going to Punta Cana next month, so you'll hear more about that. So we have a program coming up. Then we have a passion, play, and profits. It's all about monetizing badass bosses. So so that's going to be a little bit more entrepreneurial with stuff, and just really focusing in on passion and play, and obviously monetizing profits, making money from that. And we'll be doing that from the beach of Punta Cana, somewhere in the Dominican Republic. Oh, I've got free consults. So does she. Sorry.
That's right. Yes.
We have free consults until May 22nd.
Until next week, May 22nd, which means that you have to actually do the simplified application and book the consult before May 22nd, because otherwise we're not doing it after that.
No.
Today I've got all my my home study courses and programs are 50% off through today until midnight.
Amazing.
And then come tomorrow, they're all back up to full price again. So that's my big
amazing.
deal that I'm doing right now. Other than that, I'm just kind of like,
I've seen all your content, and that's like crazy. That's crazy.
The only other thing that I have, other than the workshop that we're doing, is I have launching towards the end of this week. We'll be launching my Superwoman Success Secrets, and it's hacks for mompreneurs of today. So how do you do it all? Be mom, be an entrepreneur, still have time for yourself, make money, create your own schedules, do all this different stuff, be successful in all areas of your life. And from a mom of 7, I'm just going to teach some of the things that I've learned over the course of time in that. So it's just going to be a 1-day intensive focus for all you mompreneurs out there to really help you just kickstart everything. So
awesome. Yeah. Well, and you can find us in like 2 weeks-ish.
Yep. 2 weeks-ish.
Here. We don't know what we'll be talking about. Whatever Spirit provides to us. So, and you can find me at addisonbell.net, and you can find this crazy lady
at kendallwilliams.com.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody. If I can turn it off. There we go.
Turn this off.
Uh-oh. It won't let me. There we go.